1973, and if you guys have any idea what was happening in '73, Grant was president. The Civil War was only 8 years gone. That was a pretty bitter pill to swallow for most of the South, and yes, that included Virginia. Yeah, so like I said, we saw some folks who was bitter. Cotton and tobacco prices and crops were pretty much what the South ran on, but prices were severely depressed. Sharecropping was kind of the norm. We had both African American and white farmers were tenant farmers on their land. It was kind of a different environment. Jesse James knocked over his first train in Iowa in the year 1873. Yeah, that put Iowa on the map. And San Francisco ran their first cable car in August. So it kind of gives you some context for what was happening in 1873. And anyone want to guess how many stars were on the American flag? 37. 30. It looks really weird. Look it up when you get home. It's odd. So into this environment stepped Monticello Wine Company. It was run by essentially an immigrant. It was a co-op. And this immigrant came out of Austria, Vienna to be exact. He was pretty much a savant when it came to agricultural stuff. And he did a great job basically pulling together viticulture in the area and started making some phenomenal wines. The company limped along for a few years until it was invited to one of the World's Fair expositions. At that point, over the next succeeding 2 decades, it started winning some awards nationally and internationally. The long and the short of it was one of the largest, or probably the largest winery in the South through most of the 1890s into the early 1900s. Pretty phenomenal operation. The building that was over on McIntyre Street was three stories, and then eventually 4 stories. And much like everyone talks about out in Napa Valley using gravity as part of the winemaking process, they would actually have a rail spur that came on the 3rd floor of the building, dumped tons and tons of fruit into the pressers, and essentially it would move vertically down through the winemaking process until you had bottled wines coming out the bottom. So long and the short of the story, a successful company doing a great job. Charlottesville proclaimed itself the capital of the wine belt in the South, and along came Prohibition, the big keyword, we love it, right? So very quickly, 1917, the company was out of business. Virginia had ratified Prohibition, and so that's where we left off. 140 years later, Michael and I happened upon the label name. It was sitting kind of dormant in the Virginia records, and we were able to jump on it and kind of move forward. So I'll hand it over to him. We'll talk to you about what we want to do now and in the future, and then we'll get back to the party.
First of all, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm about to lose my voice, so if I squeak a little bit, I apologize. Sorry. So, what do we have now? We have a company that's been defunct since 1913. Luke and I step in and have the opportunity to bring this thing back to life. And that's what we do. What we want to do with Monticello Wine Company is essentially stick to the same principles that they had when they started. Continue those today. We are bringing in fruit from the best growers in the area. We are working with amazing fruit. And this year, this 2013 vintage that you guys are trying in the bottle is a testament to that. We got great fruit. Made it easy for me as a winemaker to essentially just reflect Virginia in the bottle. As a winemaker, I want to step back and disappear behind the wine. So I want these wines to speak for themselves and essentially be sort of just a shepherd for what these wines already have. So as a vision for the future, what we'd like to do as this company is just continue down that path. Be ambassadors of Virginia wine. We believe in it wholeheartedly. We're local boys. We grew up here. We've got the dirt in our blood. Yeah. Can't get rid of us. So it's what we love to do. It's part of who we are, our nature, and I hope that's reflected in the bottles that you drink. That's as simple as it is. We want to reflect Virginia. We want to just drink Virginia. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.